This will be a quick video on how to do present value calculations in Excel so that we can calculate the benefit cost ratio as part of cost benefit analysis. So here's a practice problem that demonstrates how these types of problems are set up typically. The state of Deseret is considering a public health awareness program to reduce substance use rates in the community. The program would be implemented in the following year and would provide education resources and harm reduction support over 5 years. The government needs to assess the program's net value by considering the program's costs and benefits that are expected to occur over the first 5 years. And then we have some information and assumptions here. So we're going to assume that over these 5 years that the discount rate is 3% per year. And then we also have here the different costs, the projected costs and benefits that come from this program. So you can see that for the costs here, that it's more expensive in the initial year to do the initial setup and advertising and to staff the program, but that those costs will go down over time as they get more supported, and it's just about maintaining the program. And the benefits are typically the opposite, that there's no necessarily benefit in the first year because it takes some time for the program to reduce healthcare costs and increase productivity, but that over the course of years, we're going to see larger financial benefits in the sense of better increased productivity or just saving healthcare costs on the system long term. So what we've done here is we've put this information down here into Excel. So here I have the program costs and the program benefits and each of those time periods. So remember that the program will start in the following year, so it's one time period away, and it will go for 5 years there. We've got the discount rate here. So what we want to do is we want, again, remember that because of the time value of money, we can't compare the cost in this year to the cost of this year or really to any years. We need to, just like we did with nominal versus real GDP, we need to put these all in present value terms so that we can compare in today's dollars whether this program would lead to more benefit or more cost. So the first way to do this is to use the present value function. So the present value function only calculates the present value for one given time period or for one calculation. And it also is, because it requires like a negative payment is how it's thinking about it, that you're paying down some kind of payment over time. It typically puts the number in a negative. So that's not necessary here. So we're going to start with a negative so that it turns it actually positive. And we're going to say present value is equal to the rate. So we have our discount rate here. And the number of periods here would just be 1. And then there's no payment on this one. We're not paying anything down. So we're going to skip that one and come to future value. So there's the future value there. So we're going to want to lock in the discount rate because that is always going to stay the same. And we want to drag this down so we can calculate all of these different time periods and the program costs associated with it. Okay, so there's our discounted rate. So once we account for the 3% discount rate, this cost 1 year from now in today's dollars, this is $485, $436. Okay, so we can just drag this down now, and there's all of our different costs discounted by 3%. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing over here with the benefits. So we say equals negative present value. The rate is 3%. We'll lock it in. And then the time period here, no payment, and the amount of the benefit 1 year from now, which in this case is 0. Okay, and we can also drag that down. So here we have the list of all of the discounted costs and all the discounted benefits. Again, these are if we take all of the projected benefits and costs in today's dollars, this is what we have. So now what we want to do is we want to just add these all up. So we sum here, and we drag that across. Okay, so we can see here that the costs over 5 years exceed the benefits here. Okay, so we're going to calculate the benefit cost ratio here in just a second. But before we do that, I want to show you another method that we can use in Excel that quite frankly is a little bit easier, but I wanted to show you this present value method just so you can understand what the net present value is doing all at once. Okay, so net present value function, so it essentially does all of the discounting and adding up all at the same time. So what it asks you to do is it asks you for the rate, and then it just wants all the values, and what it's going to do is discount all of those values and add them all up together. Just like we did in several steps, it's going to do it all in one step. The only trick to this function here is that you have to select the numbers in the order of the time period. So here, if I'm going to click and drag, I want to start with the first time period. Oh, we're going to start up here, sorry. So we'll start here, and I'm going to drag to the 5th. So that's an important order because whatever order you select them in, it's going to assume that the first one is in the first time period, the second one's in the second time period, and so on. Okay. So we click that, you can see that this produced the same number here between these two. And we'll do it one more time for the benefits. Equal present value. So we have our rate, and then select and order the benefits, and it calculates everything here. Okay, so now that we have the total benefit and the total cost in present value terms, we can go ahead and calculate the benefit cost ratio. So we take the benefits divided by the costs, and that equals 0.77. So if you remember with the benefit cost ratio, this is telling us for every dollar that we spend on the program, how much benefit do we get out of it. Now if it's less than 1, that tells us that for every dollar we spend, we're getting less than $1 back in return of benefits. And so that program is costing us quite a bit of money. If it's over 1, then that means that for every dollar we spend, we're getting more back in benefit. That's great. So one thing that I just want to clarify here is that just because the BCR is less than 1, that doesn't necessarily mean that we cut the program, right? That's still a value statement or a decision that we have to make, but we have to just be clear about what, if we continue the program, what it means. It means that we're not getting a return on every dollar that we put into it. It's costing us money. Now, we may look at it and say, well, it's worth it. Given the social benefits that this program has, we would rather spend the money on this, and we're getting some benefit back. That's great. Maybe over time we can make it so that it does have a BCR over 1 as we lower the costs. Maybe by the 10th year it does start to pay out, right? But at least for this first 5 years, we know that it's going to be costing us much more money than we're getting back in benefits. So that's how we use this to be clear about the type of managerial decisions that we're making. Hope this is helpful. We'll see you in class.